What's up, everyone? Tera Roberts here again, bringing you week 3 of DFS Bargains. You and me, we're going to team up, we're going to find those deals, and we're going to crush our lineups. Let's kick things off at the quarterback position, and it's time to come to terms with reality here. The reality is, Daniel Jones is not a bad play in fantasy. I get the hesitation, but here's the thing. Last year was rough, but if there was one thing to note that he was actually productive at, it was on the ground. He had 423 yards. For comparison, Josh Allen had 421. The main difference is that Daniel Jones rarely found the end zone, but new year, new Daniel, he's finding the end zone on the ground now, and the production is paying off so well from a fantasy perspective. He's reasonably priced, and he's facing Atlanta. No explanation needed on that. Moving on to running backs, and it was a little tougher for me this week because some of my favorites have risen in price, so it's time to tap on some new running backs. And this week, I'm liking Nyheim Hines. He's reasonably priced after a particularly difficult performance against the Rams, which is understandable. But this week, he is facing the Titans, a team that has been on the struggle bus defensively, and it's the perfect time for a good performance. Sony Michel is another running back that I want you guys to monitor. As of the filming of this video, we still don't know the status for Darrell Henderson, who suffered a rib injury in week 2. If Henderson is out, Sony Michel steps up for a big workload. It is against Tampa's defense, but to be fair, the Rams' offensive line is a very different situation than the Cowboys and the Falcons, so Michel could see good work on the ground. Heading over to wide receivers, and this guy isn't the cheapest option out there, but at his price, it's a steal. I'm talking about Marquise Hollywood Brown. Hollywood is moderately priced, but if you look at his production versus the guys that are priced higher than him, he's a fantastic bargain. Over 2 games, he's averaged about 22 points in PPR, and that's steady production, not the result of boom and bust. For 2 weeks in a row, he's had 6 receptions and a touchdown, and he's showing as a steady go-to option for Lamar Jackson. And against a poor Detroit defense, expect that production to continue. Next up, let's head over to Miami and look at Will Fuller. After being out for week 1 for the end of his suspension and then in week 2 for unknown reasons, Will Fuller is expected to play this week against the Raiders. Unfortunately, we're not 100% sure who will be throwing him the ball, but regardless, it's still Will Fuller, the man with extreme boom capabilities when he's on the field and healthy, and he is beautifully priced across all platforms. Another solid option at receiver this week is Darnell Mooney. Matt Nagy came in hot with the Andy Dalton is our starter if he's healthy mantra, but is he healthy? We don't know. And this is Chicago, so we honestly might not know until Sunday. But it's been tough sledding out there for the Chicago receivers, but if Justin Fields could start, it could give them a nice change of pace, and Mooney is a very low priced option who could definitely benefit from the change. And finally, at receivers, I'm going to give you 2 receivers, 1 team, Rashard Higgins and Donovan Peoples-Jones. Jarvis Landry is down with a sprained MCL, and Odell Beckham Jr. has missed the past 2 games, so even if he does return this week, his capacity could be limited. There's a clear void within the Cleveland receiving corps. Both Higgins and Peoples-Jones are very cheap, and neither has been productive through the first 2 games, but that seems poised to change this week. Higgins did have productive games in 2020 when called upon due to injuries to Odell Beckham, but I actually lean towards Donovan Peoples-Jones as he appears to be higher in the depth chart, and he actually is a whole lot cheaper as well. So let's wrap things up with tight end, and let's talk about Tyler Higbee. Tyler Higbee had a rough outing last week, and Matt Stafford's love for Cooper Kupp seems insurmountable, but Higbee is an integral part of the Rams' offense. He's on the field for 100% of snaps, and he should be in line for a little bounce-back performance. The Rams play Tampa in a game that should be full of offensive firepower, and Higbee is very reasonably priced. And that wraps things up for this week's DFS Bargains. Thank you for watching, good luck with your lineups, and I will see you again next week.